Hello and welcome everyone to Teams Orientation. We are so excited to have you here. Thank you for playing along with our intro this morning. If you missed it, take a look in the chat. The chat is located on the right side of your screen. You can open it up. We're going to be posting important links throughout today, and we want to make sure that you're connected and have the information that you need for this revolutionary product that's going to make you stronger in everything you do. See how it all connects? Welcome, guys. I'm Amanda Pritchard. If you haven't done a Teams Tips with me before, I have the honor of being the Microsoft 365 specialist at UT Dallas. I am an alum, and as an alum, I can remember my time back as a student. And yes, it's changed a lot with what students are going through now. And we just host these sessions in the hope that we can make that a little bit easier for you as you're navigating new technology, new systems, and a whole new environment this past year. So today's session is going to go over the ins and outs of Teams. We're going to share with you just kind of the best ways to navigate that product. So let me go ahead and I'm going to pull over my slides here and get those loaded so that we can go over some of this content today. If at any time the information is a lot for you, or if you need to practice, you can hover over my video feed. You can do it right now. You can pause at any time. You can also rewind, so you can travel back in time and hear what I have to say again. We firmly believe in experiential learning. So if you're wanting to follow along, Teams Live does allow you to pop out this Teams meeting separately, so you can shrink us down and you can pull up Teams on your screen and be able to follow along with some of the tips that we're providing today. So if you need that, it's available to you. Chat is in that far right side. I have amazing student workers backing me today. They're going to provide all of the support behind the scenes. So any of those questions that you have coming in, feel free to shoot them in the chat. They're there, they're ready and waiting to answer your questions. So if there's anything that if I say that's unclear or that you need further details on, know that they're there and they've got your back. Okay, sharing my slides here. We'll go ahead and move on. So we get questions a lot on how to access Teams, the various ways that you can get there. And if you don't already have Teams downloaded on your desktop and on your mobile, there's a way to do that. So we've got that link posted in the chat for you. Go ahead and you can follow that link. The mobile device saves my life every day. So if you're not already using it, it's a great way to stay connected, keep up to date with your chats, view your calendar, and have instant access to all that information. So Teams can be accessed in a variety of ways. We have the web portal, so you can log in if you're going to office.com. You can log into Teams there and to be able to see it on a web browser. You also have, as mentioned, the mobile app. So you can log in there and be able to access anything at a glance. It's a smaller version, but it still has a lot of the same tools and availability on that platform. And then the one that we're going to be demonstrating today, simply because it's more robust and it allows you more tools, that's going to be the desktop app. So that desktop app is going to have the most and the most reliable information there so that you can access everything that you need. It has a few more features in it than can be produced on web and mobile. So we'll go ahead and start our journey there. So what I was going to have you do to start is I like to see what Teams has meant to you. And this is kind of your choice to respond if you want to. But if you have your phone attached to your hand, then you can go ahead and scan this QR code. We're going to have a couple of QR codes throughout today's presentation just so that you can be engaged as well. You can scan that, or in the chat, there's a direct link. But I want you to take a minute and think about this past year and a half. What has Teams meant to you? So I would love to, I'm going to pull it up on my other computer here and just be able to see that and see if you could describe it in one word. what would that one word be? I know you heard my choice of opening songs today. So for me, it has been revolutionary in how I'm able to do things, how I'm able to engage with my team. And I'm seeing a few pop in. So I'm gonna keep talking until I see some more, and I'll share with you some of the responses that we're getting in. And production team, y'all feel free. I've got a lot of the elite Microsoft 365 specialist team with me supporting this event. And they're the ones that get to see firsthand the questions that come in, and the insight and the feedback that we get from campus as to what does Teams mean? How has it helped you? Has it benefited you? Sometimes I know it can be a challenge as well. And I think that that's a fair response. But okay, as I'm seeing these come in, I'm going to switch over here. I have to I'm going to stop sharing one and jump to the other. And then Denison, I'm going to ask you in just a minute if you don't mind sharing those slides again once I jump over here. So this is super fun. This is a word cloud based on the information that you all provided to see what is the one thing, one way that you would use, and you can submit it multiple times. And as submissions come in, it's going to go ahead and update for us. But ooh, um, but see, so look, I get distracted by all the movement, but I love seeing your feedback here. I'm really happy too that I haven't seen the word outages. Thank you, my team, for not putting that, because that is the one thing that we get a lot of. There are occasional outages. We do have a process and system in place if there ever is an outage to make sure to communicate that to campus. And I will say that for the most part, it works, and it works great. And it's odd, guys, we don't ever get like a thank you each day that it is working. But the few times it goes out, we are sure to know about it, and we have a great crew that works to make sure that it gets up and running again for you. So just really cool to see the helpful communication, lifesaver, amazing, useful, some great descriptions of how Teams has kind of transformed the way that we work and the way that we interact with each other, especially while being remote. So thank you all for contributing to that, and for keeping it PG rated, because I was a little nervous. But I appreciate that. So Denison, I'm going to stop sharing that. And if you're able to go ahead and pull those slides, if you have access to them, then let's see. Awesome. Okay. I have to get out of a few of these screens that I made full screen to share with y'all everything. Okay, Denison, let's go ahead and move to the next one. Oh, sorry. Go back. I lied. I actually need to be sharing my screen now. So just one second here. Denison, I'm curious from your perspective, because Denison is a new employee on our team. If you had to describe it in one word, what do you think you would choose?
That's a
Putting him on the
great
spot.
question. Useful.
Yes, I agree. I think it's been so beneficial to all of us. Okay, Denison, I'm going to take over sharing, and we're going to jump right in, and I'm going to share my Teams client here, my desktop version, just so that you all can kind of see. And let me go ahead. This is part of the process. A question I just got asked yesterday. Can you zoom in? It's hard to see sometimes when you're using Teams. Can you zoom in? Absolutely. The three little dots that I'm hovering over right now are always mean more information. So I like to think of it as like digging for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. There's always something special behind those three dots. So if you click those three dots, you're going to be able to see the information presented there. So the first thing that I'm going to do to make sure that you all are able to see what I'm sharing today is we're going to zoom in and make it really big. So you can see here, you can just zoom to whatever size that you want. So now that we've zoomed in, I want to go ahead and we're going to quickly go over a few things in settings, because I think this is important that you understand how things need to work and connect all of your devices in Teams. So from settings, we'll go ahead and just go through these at a very quick level, because you're able to dig into these on your own. And we have a lot of really exciting things to show you coming up. So In general, you can change the layout. I know I got a couple of questions from y'all on if we can do it in dark mode. That is available as well as high contrast. Our settings will let you go in and manage your account. And then the one question I get asked a lot on is devices. So I use a headset. If you use a headset, this is the way you can go in and you can manage selecting how you want your microphone, if you want it from your camera, your computer, your device, and you can make those selections and changes there. That just ensures that everything that you have connected is working just the way you want it. In addition, I just want to call your attention to our accessibility feature. If you need transcriptions or if you want to make sure that the content that you're sharing is going to be accessible to everyone, this is a very easy toggle that you can turn on. And when a Teams meeting is in progress, it's going to transcribe and identify you as the speaker. So this just ensures that everyone who's in that meeting that are reading those closed captioning is going to know who you are. So anyways, that is a very quick at a glance look at our settings. Um, and then I'm going to go ahead and exit out of that since we've been able to see that. And we're going to look at a couple of options in Teams. So I'm going to go to my main Teams icon so that you can see all of the teams that I'm on at a glance. This is kind of your main dashboard. And I've had questions on if you need to rearrange these, if there's one that you access more frequently than others, or one that maybe is no longer applicable. These are really easy to move and to navigate. So whatever you need to move around, whatever you want to see, it's just a matter of dragging and dropping. So you can organize all the teams that you're on. Likely you're not on as many as I am, and that's fine. There's quite a few that I'm on and quite a few that we've used for testing. But if you're looking to know if something's happening in that team, and if you've been notified or if there's new content available, the way that you can at a glance look at that is from selecting teams, and you can scroll down and you can see the help desk icon is bolded. So as opposed to these others, when it's bolded and you see the little notification here, that means that there's been new posts there. So that might be something that you want to check out. I do get that question a lot asking, how do I know if there's information there? So you can see at a glance when posts have been made that you need to call your attention to. And you can click on that and be able to go to it rather quickly. Abby, I'm going to pause just real quick and reach out to you. Did you have any major questions that I need to address before I go on?
Yes, we did have a couple of questions, but they were all going to be covered in the future by you. So I believe let's give it some time and then you can cover them as well.
Okay, great. I love how excited everybody is. They're just already just jumping in on questions. I know we have a lot of content to cover, and Teams is a massive tool, and I've got a long list, and we've got some really fun things to show you too. So I'm excited for that. I'm going to go in and talk about, so this is one team that I drilled down into. This is one that I manage called Campus Communicators. And it's a forum for individuals that work on campus to kind of get together and talk about things and get advice, seek knowledge. So I'm going to show you how I have this laid out because I think it's important that we understand the language moving forward with teams. So this is the main team in Teams that I have. And then these on the left column here are called your channels. So your channels are where you can divide up content and kind of keep it in those set categories that you need. So you can see we have a couple of categories, like we have one on accessibility. So everything that's accessibility related will go in there. Those types of conversations happen there in the chat. So this is just a quick, easy way for you to be able to manage. There's no restrictions other than every team will have a general channel. The rest of the channels would be able to be named and owned by whoever owns that team so they can create and modify those channels as necessary. So we'll just go ahead and drill down into a post. So Dennis, sorry if you're on, you're getting highlighted here. But you can post within that channel. So I know for students that you typically have a channel built for your class. You have a team for that class, and then the professor would set up those channels. And those can be maneuvered and manipulated however the owner of that team sees fit. So for mine, I just have it broken down by categories. You can post, you can meet by selecting the little video icon if you wanted to go ahead and set up a meeting. And then you can manage your channel here. So channels are the main ways to organize your teams and to be able to post content there. In addition, I was just going to highlight too, so within that, you also have files where you can collaborate on materials. That was one of the trending questions that we got in registration. You were able to submit your questions to us. And the main question we got was, how do I collaborate? How do I use this? That's one of the distinguishing features from Teams and that sets it apart from Zoom, which is the word we don't usually say around here. But so that's one of the different features is that you can actually post documents, presentations, Excel spreadsheets, anything that you'd want to work on, and it backs it up all into OneDrive for you. So everything will be hosted on the cloud. You can use it whenever you want. Anyone that accesses it will have the changes immediately there. So in this one, I just happen to have a lot of pictures, but you're not limited. I'm going to jump to another one that I know we have more within those files, just so that you can kind of see the different types, um, pictures, videos, PDFs, whatever you need. And all of this is anyone on that team can jump on, make edits. You can share those documents so you can have that in real time and have multiple people co-authoring a document. It's great, especially for like these trainings. We'll set up a meeting, we'll all brainstorm, and everybody can put in their feedback and ideas all on one document, and we can see each other's changes in real time. So, okay, so I think those are the main highlights to share. And then for sharing a document within that Teams channel, that's another question that I received. So the three dots, remember, treasure at the end of the rainbow, click on those and you're going to be able to find additional details, anything else that you would want to do with that document. You can come in here and copy a link, and then you can email out a link to that document. You do not have to download content anymore, attach it to an email and send it out. There's no more of the final file 1, final file 2, final file 3, because everything in here is your final file. So if you're one of those that is still downloading the document, uploading it into email and sending that out and having to email out everybody a change whenever you make it, it's completely unnecessary. You can just send them the link, and then when you upload any changes, that when they refresh that link, it's going to be there in their hands, ready for them with the most recent version. It's so much easier, and it saves you a lot of space on your computer too. So you're not having to manage so many documents in one space. Okay, I think we're going to move into chat now. Let's make sure nobody's given me any inappropriate chat. Abby will go ahead and pull up pull up your chat. Sorry, everybody's going to see all of the positive affirmations that my team gives me because they know how much work goes into planning these. And so I'll be my great strong supporter. Do you want to go ahead and send me a couple of chats just so we can see what it looks like to have those coming in? But that way you all can see. Chat is just is an easy tool. If you're not already constantly communicating, go ahead and you can post them here. In addition, there's a toolbar at the bottom of your chats here where you can make any edits that you want to that chat. If you want a bold, italic, underline, however you want to modify that. And then in addition here, if you want to embed a link or content, or let's say a link to what we just saw in that Teams channel, right? The document that you're wanting to share, you can have that in your channel, grab it, send it on over, and be able to share that with your team instantaneously to have them review and edit it. And then here's another thing that I love calling attention to, because we all need affirmation. We all need encouragement. And my team is so supportive and so encouraging. I'm so grateful to work with such incredible people. I think it's important too that we submit that praise to others. Everybody needs that. So by sending praise, this is a really neat tool built into Microsoft. You can just instantly recognize those key players on your team. So we'll go ahead and just send Abby um, a quick note so that you can all see. And this is, so it's going to pull up that badge. You can put in a quick note of appreciation. It's going to send you a preview so you can see and make sure, yeah, he's really awesome. So let's go ahead and send this. So we'll go ahead and send that. It's going to pull up in his chat and give him a little note that he's gotten praise. So anytime you're working on a project, interacting with each other, it's a great way to just send that recognition to somebody, to follow up afterwards and to be able to share that with them. So, and then of course we have the standard gifts and other details down here. One that I like to use too is forms. And we're going to go over that in a little bit more detail when we actually do our meetings. That's coming up in just a second. So, and the other thing I want to show you real quick is in your chat, the three dots. Remember, we're going for the gold here. Click on those three dots. If you get interrupted a lot, if you need to silence some of those chats with group you're no longer a part of, there's ways to do that. You don't have to constantly receive notifications that you don't want to receive. So click on those three dots and you can see your options here. If you want to pin it, that's going to keep it on the top of your feed. So those most frequently asked or interactive chats that you have, the ones that you really want to maintain, go ahead and keep those pinned and you'll always have them at the top. No more scrolling and digging for it. If you have a favorite that you want to add to your contact list, you can do that. Muting them keeps them quiet so that you won't be interrupted. Hiding it will take it away from your view. So any of those old, if you were on one for an event or for a big group or a training and you want to hide that, you can hide it and it's going to eliminate that from your feed. Okay, Abby, my sweet friend, I'm coming back to you to see, do we have any other questions before I continue to move on?
Yes, Amanda, we do have a question by a great audience member.
Awesome.
So if you could just go over the private channels a bit more and how that can be used for, student work, grades, or any other private channel stuff you would like to use that for.
Awesome. Absolutely. I'll do that. So the private channels would be primarily if you have content that you did not want the entire group to see. So let me go back. I'm trying to think if I have one. I have one on my team. I know y'all are deepest, darkest secrets happening right now, guys. Getting to see all behind the inner curtain here. I don't know that I have a private channel. Um, I don't know that I have one that I can share, but a private channel. Wait, I do. There it is. I found it. It was so private. It was so hidden. Even I didn't know it was there, you guys. But we found it. So private channels. That's going to just give you information. Oops, sorry. I can't even click on them because they are private. It's going to give you information that you just want for some key stakeholders on that team. So if you do have grades, if you have content that maybe everybody can't share, you can have that in your private channel and it'll just be for those whom you designate. So you can't share that information out. External users can't come in and see that, but you can have some of those by just designating in your channels here. So I went to the three dots, right? You can manage the team. So team owners would need to be the ones to modify how you want your channels set up. And then from there, you can modify those channels. There's a lot of great information when you're owner of the team here and that you can kind of run through and you can select what is shown, what is hidden, um, in here, and it's just the click of a button, and so it can instantly get angry at me. It's going to make those changes instantaneously for you, depending on what you're wanting to show or to hide. But the private one just kind of keeps that private. Denison, did I miss anything on that that our audience might want further clarification on?
Mm,
No? Okay. So private is what you think. It's just kind of hidden between those few key members and that you can have that. Abby, was there any other questions before I move on to adding apps?
No, I think you covered all of the questions that we had before. Thank you,
Okay,
Amanda.
awesome. Thank you. Okay, so the other question that we receive a lot of are apps. I'm not going to delve too deep into all the types of apps. There's quite a few. Not all of them are enabled or work necessarily with UT Dallas's policies. So there are some that are within the Microsoft 365 suite that you can add and kind of connect to within your team's platform. So for me, some of those apps that I use are Forms, OneNote, OneDrive. Those are all apps that you can add on and be able to have a little bit more of a fast connection to them. One thing I like to draw your attention to when you're adding an app, usually that's the baby version. Okay, watch this. The baby version, right? The miniature version of what the full app is able to do. It's not, so if you're looking at getting all the bells and whistles, I know everyone's like, if you're looking at getting all the bells and whistles, you're not going to get that with these apps. They're still useful. They can be beneficial, but you may notice a couple things missing. So, so you can add in any of those apps that you want to. It's going to appear on your main toolbar here. And if it's one that you want to keep around, you certainly have the option of adding more or pinning that too. Oh, that's a throwback there. You just never know what's going to pop up on my screen, you guys. That was one of our previous trainings, but you can add in whatever you want to. Let's see, I know I use Forms a lot. So you can add it in. Some of them, if you have not already added it, it's going to ask you a few clarifying questions to get you to get added. And then you can open it up from the actual Teams platform. So applications are completely customizable to you. You put on there what you want, what you like. And then we're going to go real quick to status and the duration availability there, because I think that this is really important. If you're not familiar, you can select your profile picture, have a drop down, and these items underneath where it says presenting, since I'm in a meeting, it's going to share with you the different ways you can set your status. So just real quick, let's go over that. Available means you can be called, you can be messaged. Busy is a notification just to let people know that you're actively working on something. Could be in a call, but you're likely in a meeting, focused your attention on that. Do not disturb means what it means, that you are in a critical state of focus and you cannot be bothered. One of the benefits of do not disturb is that you don't hear the messages that I have coming in. There's no pings, there's no dings, and if someone calls me, which I've already gotten some, it's not going to pull me off this call and pull me into that meeting. So do not disturb can be a really critical tool, especially if you're in class and you don't want to get messages from other classmates, or you just really need to focus on the project, then you can be on do not disturb and then be right back, BRB. That just means you'll be back in a second. You can appear away or appear offline. Offline just would mean that people would not see you and not be able to quickly get to you because it looks like you have not logged into Teams. So we also have something somewhat new is duration. You can set the duration. That's the length of time you want that status to appear. Okay. So however long you're wanting that status to appear and what that status is, you can put in a certain amount of time. If you are forgetful to take do not disturb off, you can set that duration so that it only appears a certain amount of time or certain amount of days. Okay. I'm checking. And then just the final thing to share with y'all is just being able to see and utilize the calendar. It is on your main thread, so you're able to pull up your calendar at any time. You can jump to and from meetings from here by just clicking on the actual meeting, and then it'll pull up your option to join. One of the questions that I get a lot of is you want to add somebody to a meeting, but you don't want that notification to go to everyone. right? If you just start adding, like, let's say we're having a really cool meeting. Oh, I forgot to add Dennison. I need to add him, but I really don't want to have to remind Abby again that I just updated the invitation because he already got it 3 times. The best way to do that, my friends, is doing it in Outlook. Right now, Teams will still notify everybody. So if you're adding somebody in and you want to send just to that updated person, just to Dennison, then I would open that meeting up in Outlook, add his name in, press send, and it has the option just to send to those that we updated so that you're not spamming everybody with those updates every time you make a change. Okay, Abby, are there any additional questions we need to address before we start moving? In just a second, we're going to migrate over to Teams meetings, which is everybody's favorite.
You did mention calendars. So we did have an audience member ask about external calendars like Google Calendar and how they can maybe sync those calendars if they want to, and if they switch over to Teams calendar, what features do they have in comparison to external calendars like those?
Okay, great. Dennison, I may have to rely on you for helping because I don't know if I don't know enough about syncing that calendar to Teams because my life has only been in Teams. So I don't use the Google Calendar quite as much. Do you know much about the syncing of those calendars,
Um,
or is that something we may need to get back to
that might
them
be
on?
something that we have to get back to a little bit. I
Okay.
do know Microsoft does have some documentation on moving that, but I think it's relatively new. So we might want to circle back on that one.
Not a problem. And then the only thing I was going to add is just that on the calendar, you should be able to do just as much on your team's calendar as you would anywhere else. They did recently add color coding, which just makes my heart so happy. So if you need color coding and those kind of details, all of that is available too. And with Teams calendar, it does automatically sync with Outlook because it is a Microsoft product. So you're not having to double post places as soon as you create an event or a Teams event in Outlook or on Teams, it's going to go ahead and merge those together. So I think now is the time that we're going to set up a Teams meeting and be able to show you some things within the actual Teams meeting. So in order to do that, I need to ask my production crew who's behind the scenes now to leave the live event and go and join that Teams meeting with Dennison. And we're going to give them just a moment. I'm going to look at the Q&A. Let's see. Make sure there's nothing that I need to answer while everybody's moving over there. So if you're on the live event, if you'll leave and go ahead and just jump over to that other event. And I think, Dennison, I think I'm going to, while they're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to start on polling because that is a question that I get a lot of as well. In a Teams meeting, not in Teams Live, but in a Teams meeting, you are able to pose questions and to ask your audience some things. So while we're getting everybody switched over to that, we're going to go ahead and show you how you can add a poll in a Teams meeting. If you guys don't already do this in your meetings, it's a great way to get quick feedback and get ideas from that group. So from your calendar, you open up that meeting. Dennison already has it open. Then you're going to look at the top right toolbar and select that plus button. When you select that, just like I showed you how to add apps, this is adding the app to that particular meeting. So you're going to select Forms because the polling option is actually through Microsoft Forms, so it's completely integrated. It's going to give you some general information, just making sure that it can access. You can click Save to move on. And it's going to give you some options here of how to create some polls. So it looks like we've already got a couple of polls there. We can go ahead and use those. And if so, Dennison, you pick your favorite there, and then you can add those polls to the meeting. You do have the options of making those polls anonymous or making sure that those participants do get those responses. Okay, so is that one? I think it's all added. Got it. And then, let's just show, can you click on the create new poll too? because let's say you don't like what the standard responses are, it's just as easy as typing in a quick question there under questions, and then you can type in those options. For polling, it's not as robust as Microsoft Forms. Remember, when we're using an app, it's the baby feature, right? It's a much smaller, less robust, but you can do some basic questions that will allow you those general interactions with your team. So let's go ahead and just save that for fun. And let's go into our team's meeting. Let's join this because and you can go ahead. Now that it's there, let's hit launch. Beautiful. That way, those participants that are on the team's meeting will be able to see that. So from your calendar, let's pause there 1 second. Oh, he's too fast. He's too fast. He's going to go back. Y'all don't worry. So just so you see this, go ahead and click join. I just want to show them that pre-join screen. If you are worried about, fixing your hair, how you look on camera, or changing your devices really quickly before joining, those are where all of those features are. So before you join the meeting, you can make whatever changes necessary. All right, Denison, let's go on in. I think they're waiting for us. Hi, guys. Awesome. Okay, Denison, I'll ask you to make that full screen just so that everybody's able to see them. Wonderful. Okay, so if you are in a Teams meeting, and the fun thing is, guys, because we're doing this in a live event, we had to work some IT magic. They can't hear me. So I can do all sorts of like crazy gestures. They're not going to know why I'm doing it. They just have to sit there and wait. Isn't it great, Denison? Bless their hearts. Okay, let's go over that top toolbar for all of our participants to make sure that they know all of the icons that are available. So in a Teams meeting, that top toolbar is going to be your navigation guide. So Denison, let's go ahead and hover over some of those icons real quick, and we can just show them some of the different things that you can do. So to show your participants, you can go ahead and click on that. It's going to let you know who's in your meeting. If somebody had forgotten to mute, let's go ahead and just mute Abby real quick. He's going to be heartbroken. We'll go ahead and mute him real quickly just to show that you can mute and you can unmute. You can set up those options in your Teams meeting. And how about let's go ahead, Denison, and spotlight Abby now. If you have, this is a new feature in Teams that you can do. You can spotlight multiple people. So let's say you're in a meeting, and Ayushi, are you able to jump on that meeting too? Mustang, thank you. Because I want to get a couple people on there. Let's go ahead and spotlight Magdalite, and then when Ayushi comes, we'll get her spotlighted. So before, you used to only be able to spotlight one person. But if you have a meeting with multiple panelists or a class discussion, you're going to want to spotlight multiple people. So you can see as they're being spotlighted and showing off all of their swag, which you will have an opportunity to win at the end of this event. But you can see how it pulls in those frames. And if you have a bigger group, it's going to have even more individuals that you can spotlight instead of just being limited to that one person. So up at the top, there's also a chat feature so that you can see the chat. I'm going to see if I'm going to ask Abby real quick if he can post in that chat. Or maybe Denison, you can just verbally ask him if he could post in the chat. So because I want you to close out of that, Denison, and show the new chat bubble feature in just 1 second. So if Abby can't hear me, so he's having to just look at my chat. There it is, and be able to post. So the chat bubble is something new. If you just notice that it came over their heads, it just comes up as a quick notification and then it goes away. So that just lets your participants know, especially if you're presenting or speaking, if there's a quick notification. Okay, let's see. Denison, do you think let's go back to the chat because I believe the polling option showed that, and I was just going to show that real quickly in the chat. Perfect. So because we joined a little bit late because I was showing off some of the features, I can't see, if you scroll up in the chat, you'll be able to see the different polling responses. We joined a little bit late, So they had that pop up on their screen and were able to answer that immediately. And so that gives a copy of those results as well. Um, in addition, we have the reactions that they can do. So I'll go ahead and tell them to start sharing some of those reactions in the meeting, just so that you can see what it looks like, Dennis. And if you'll give them that verbal cue too, thank you. Um, it's really hard demoing something when they can't hear me, but we're making it work, guys. So beautiful. So Avi's got his hand raised, but you can see there's all of these great responses that you can do to be able to make that meeting more engaging. So Denison, would you like to demo and show off breakout rooms so that people can just get a real quick glance at? I know that's a popular topic for classes and for meetings. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Denison. I'm going to make you unmute. Perfect.
All right. So, what we've got here is breakout rooms. This is how you can create different rooms that are outside of the main meeting room. It's great for small discussions, especially if you have like a panel of guests and such. You can assign, as you can see here, you can create as many as, well, a lot. um, you can make tons and tons of amazing breakout rooms here. And then let's say we want to go ahead and do two. As you can see, you can have teams automatically assign people to these rooms, or you can also have them manually be chosen. So you can manually choose someone to be assigned. We're just going to stick with this automatic. So we'll go ahead and do create room, or rooms really. And so it takes a little few seconds for it to slowly create itself. Give it a moment here. And since I'm the meeting organizer, we can already see the rooms that you see here. And you also see that people have already been assigned to these rooms, but we haven't opened these rooms. As you can see, they're closed. No one has actually moved over to these rooms yet. So if I want to go ahead and say open up room one, go ahead and get that opened. Once that opens, and it takes a little bit of time, once that opens, then Abi and Ayoshi can actually jump into that room and start conversing outside of this main room that we have here. See, Abi and Ayoshi have just jumped over there, and so now it's just me and Magdalene. And actually, a cool thing about this too is you can also create announcements. So this is great for if you want to make an announcement to all of the rooms. So that way, everyone who is not just in the main room but in all of the rooms will understand what's going on. If you want to say, "Hey, come on back," I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And we're going to go ahead and make that announcement. So now everyone has, and as you can see, you already see that it's been sent out. So now everyone has the opportunity to see that, and then they can move if need be. And we can close the room. So out of the options that we have here, I can join myself if need be, or I can also rename the room. So if we want to call this like the Cool Cats room, uh, so now it's nice and renamed. So now it's not just a generic room, but it's the Cool Cats room. Um, so now you can see that the Cool Cats room is already renamed. And another cool feature that you can see here is, as you can see, all this participants have already been assigned. But say, after everyone's been assigned, I want to assign someone or move people into different rooms. I can always hit assign and start moving other people into different rooms if need be. So I'm going to move Abi. And so now, let's see here. Give me 1 second here. Wait. So actually, I'm going to. Oh, I forgot. Since all of them have actually already been assigned, they're good to go. So in this example, you can't do it. But if there are anybody who's not assigned to a room, then you can actually click on them and move them to a certain room. And so now we've got Avi and Ayoshi back into the main room. And that is some of the big things of your breakout rooms. Amanda, can you think of anything else that I might have missed?
I know of one question that I get, Denison, that
Hmm.
is a recent change. So we have a lot of professors or student organizations on campus, and one person may set up the meeting, but they may need somebody else to help manage and post those announcements and information. So does only one person able to control the breakout room, or can multiple people have access to that so they can maneuver things around?
So currently, only the organizer has the opportunity to um, move participants in and out of breakout rooms if need be, um, and create breakout rooms and assign people. But that is something that is going to become a new feature here in the next upcoming months that Microsoft is actually going to push out.
Perfect. I appreciate that clarification, and I wanted to call out Avi is using another new feature that Teams just launched that I think is really cool. So, Denison, if you don't mind, if you could ask Ayushi and Meg Light to come back to the live event, because I think
Hmm.
we're going to go ahead and get them back over here, and I'd love for them to mute their cameras so we can see Avi big screen. I want to go over this in a little bit more detail because this is something that's very new that just launched. Um, and so Standout is a way that you can get in front of your slides. Um, let me see. Sorry, I'm letting them know to go ahead and mute their cameras. Um, But Avi is showing the standout mode, which just came. So when you're presenting your slide deck, you might want to be able to be in front of it and show people your content. So Denison, if you could just ask him to kind of move his hand around, let's see him showing that actual presentation. Perfect. You're going to show up in the standout. You'll be in your bottom right corner and just be shown there. So you can pull yourself in front of that presentation. Denison, will you just go show them when they're sharing the screen up there? That's the only thing that you do is you click on the share screen on the right to use this new feature. And it will show at the top after you select your content. And I'm not sure if it's showing on this one. Uh-oh. We lost him. But when you go to share your content, it's going to pull that up, and you're going to be able to select that standout mode. So you can still select if you would rather have your slides and then yourself, or if you want somebody to do the standout feature. And so um, we're doing a little workaround now that's kind of helping us to be able to show this, and just wanted to be able to share that with you. This is a very new thing. So if you have a panel discussion or just are presenting and you want to share those details, I'm going to have him stand out one more time. So that's the traditional view where you can see the slides, and Denison was just highlighting where you can see those as well. So these transformed again, so you can do the traditional, or you can have that person in front of you. So beautiful. Well, Denison, thank you for sharing about meetings and breakout rooms, and thank you to our students for being lovely models in front of the Teams meeting platform. I'm going to go ahead and move to, I know we're getting close on time, and we have an amazing guest presenter here. Again, we love to highlight the talent that's behind the scenes that works to make all of these things come together and provide campus daily support in and out. These students always have our back and are always there to help us. So without further ado, Nakvi, I would love for you to just come on, go ahead and unmute, and I want to hear all about Help Desk and just the amazing things that you do to help support campus.
Thank you, Amanda. I'm just going to start off by introducing myself a little bit. Hi, guys. I'm Nagvi. I'm currently a senior majoring in computer science. I'm also a student supervisor at the OIT Help Desk. So today I'll be talking about some of the tools that are available to you, specifically the self-service tools. So if you go to the Help Desk website, you should see a search bar. Could we go ahead and take them to the Help Desk website? Yeah.
Yes, but I don't want them to miss. There's another
Yeah.
team lock.
Alrighty, yeah. So as you can see, there's a search bar. So this search bar is pretty powerful, and we're gonna show you that right now. So for example, say you want to set a custom team background in your meeting. Just search up team's background, and it'll pull up all the knowledge articles that are associated with teams backgrounds. They literally consist of a step-by-step guide as to how you can set up a custom team background for your meeting. Okay, let's see. We also this is pretty much applicable for all common help desk issues. You can pretty much look it up on the search bar, and you're going to get a step-by-step guide. We additionally also have how-to guides, so you can always refer to those as well. I do understand that sometimes the self-service or how-to guides just isn't enough. So yeah, of course, if you require further assistance, just give us a call at the help desk, or you could even chat with us. If you go to the help desk website, there's chat functionality. So whichever one you prefer, you can use either one to contact us. And you'll talk to very experienced help desk analysts that are there to support and pretty much walk you through any issues you're having. We are open from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every single day of the week. So yeah, regardless of how late it can get, we're there to support you whenever you need it. Okay, I do want to also let you know that previously we had something called the Atlas portal. We sort of still do have a version of that, like a variation. And that's where you can go ahead and make requests on an online portal. That's also available on the Help Desk website. We currently have 34 student workers, my bad, at the Help Desk that are here to ensure that all your issues are resolved as quickly and as efficiently as possible. Lastly, I want to talk to you guys about something exciting, this exciting project that OIT has been working on, and that is the technology bar. So it is located at the heart of campus, the SU, and I believe it's going to be an impactful resource on campus. I wish it was there when I started off in college. Essentially, it's like a walk-up, as you can see on your screen right now, and it will have services such as the freshman comment laptop setup, update checks, remote learn setup, as well as all the other help desk support. And these will be staffed by pretty much the same experienced OIT analysts that are taking your calls at the help desk. We already have a temporary location open there, but yeah, soon enough you'll see the technology bar in all its glory. Now Amanda will be sharing some additional training resources, and yeah, that's all I had to share.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I love getting to hear everything that y'all are doing to help improve campus and just to provide that higher caliber of support. And I can't wait to get to be back and regularly get to visit you all at the Tech Bar. I think that's awesome. So the next thing that we want to talk about, just in wrapping up this general orientation, Denison, if you can go next, please. Thank you. We've got a couple of additional trainings coming up. If you are interested in hearing a little bit more about Outlook, this is an advanced class. So we're going to go beyond the basics, and we're going to go ahead and post in our chat just how you can sign up for that. And then the hot topic that everybody wants to know, how do we do hybrid meetings moving forward? What is that going to look like? We're going to have a session where we actually demo the equipment that you can purchase and show you how to set that up so that you can have people on site as well as virtual all be able to safely participate in your upcoming meetings. Then next, we just want to, next please, Denison. The next, we just want to recognize everyone and their support for being here and make sure that we get the feedback that we need from you. So if you have your phone available or if you want to grab that in the chat, you can go ahead and complete our event survey. So this survey is going to ask you a couple of questions on our performance, and in addition, it's going to give you that opportunity to submit your answers to TMOC. So be on the lookout for that final question there. That's where you can submit however many TMOCs you've seen. We have some really cool swag that we're going to give away, both for those who, we're going to do a random drawing from those who complete the survey. And next, while you're filling that out, go ahead next, please. While you're filling that out, we're going to go ahead and do some drawings. I know we have some really cool swag that we want to give away to you. So if you want to go ahead, great. We've got that wheel up. Let's go ahead and spin and see who some of our winners are. And that way we can make sure they get their prizes for today. Okay, it's close. Kelly H. Yay, Kelly, I know who you are. Kelly gets a prize. Okay, let's see who else. And are you able to hover over and play the sound? I don't think we have the audio coming through. It's okay if you can't, but let's go ahead and we can, we'll go ahead and spin again and we can get another winner selected. And then with that, we can close out. Okay, let's see, who is it? Paul. Congratulations, Paul. Thank you all for being here. Just know that we are always here to support you. We appreciate you attending these. I hope it was beneficial and that it removed maybe any of that fear or concern that you had about Teams, and that you'll realize how revolutionary it truly is. If you have any questions, we're going to leave that chat open for just a few more minutes so that you can submit them to us and we'll answer. I want to thank you all. And just remember, you all are awesome.